The third phase of the process is react. React is once you have processed the information and made a decision, you start taking action on how to solve the situation. Important part of reaction or react is the split step. Split step happens as a transition between ready, read and react. The split step ideally happens before the opponent's contact with the ball. So we start pushing off the ground before the opponent hits the ball. When he hits the ball, we're coming down to the ground from the air. At the beginning, usually when you start teaching kids and you start introducing split step, they are trying to exaggerate, they're jumping way too high. Don't worry about it, it is better to have a split step than not to have a split step at all. And by time, it will clear up and it will look more natural and they will realize what they have to do better. Why we're doing split step or why we're introducing split step to children is because we want them to use the reactive force from the ground and to be able to react to the ball or to make the decision which direction they want to move. And split step helps us to do this much quicker. Very important during split step is to maintain balance and posture. Upper body has to be upright and ready to change direction. Right after split step, the next action of react is the first step that happens with heel to toe. Simultaneously, also what happens is take back. Take back is done by shoulder. Be careful, some kids only use their arms or they point like this, but the most important part is to look at their shoulders and watch if they're really turning the whole upper body. So on each shot we would like to see simultaneous first step and take back with shoulders. Take back happens at every situation. We can see on each stroke whether it's a serve where we really start with a rotation of shoulders, the same with volleys, ground strokes, basically any stroke, returns as well. Another part of react is the grip adjustment. That also happens simultaneously with a split step and the first step, plus with a shoulder turn. But it also depends on the situation. For example, on serve, the grip is already set before we start the stroke. On the return, as we already mentioned in the first phase of this circle, in the ready position, return, we would like to see double-handed players with dominant hand, with a forehand grip, and a non-dominant hand with a backhand grip, or with one-handed players with dominant hand with a Conti grip and non-dominant hand on the throat of the racket. This setting really helps the players to react much faster on the return with the grip adjustment that happens simultaneously with a split step, shoulder turn and the first step. During baseline points, we would like to see the grip with dominant hand on a forehand and non-dominant hand on the throat of the racket. Having the non-dominant hand on the throat of the racket allows the players to adjust the grip quickly without compromising the shot selection.
Hey guys, quickly now that we are on the react topic. Again, I want you to think of progressions. At the very beginning when I was studying the game of tennis, a colleague of mine told me that he taught kids on how to run. And I looked at him completely confused and I'm like, come on man, everybody knows how to run. And then I started watching our athletes in the academy. And believe it or not, they didn't know how to run. So it was a very humbling experience for me because it was one of those, don't ever assume that people are able to do things. Teach them. Every single thing you can, teach them. That being said, what I want to come back and bring it to is when I started teaching react. Split step, first steps, turning back the shoulders. I try to, especially with young athletes, kids, to use rhythm, because they kind of got the tap tap movement or the horsey movement or 1, 2, 3, 4, anything that was kind of rhythm. The very first thing we talked about was Porsche versus Lorry, which is a concept you already heard from. And then I just had them tapping on the heels and tapping on the toes, just so they got to know their body. Once they got understanding that part of the process, we went and used a ball. I laugh because I see people throwing medicine balls. If you're working with children, please, please, please use basketballs or volleyballs. Something that is big but light. I mean it, I've seen it, it's not cool. So you take a light ball and you have the kid just turning shoulders so they create that spatial awareness, they create the body awareness, and then you link that together with turning shoulders with the heel to toe movement. But the principle is always the same. Let the player do this on his own, then you start throwing balls at the player, and then we start doing this with the racket from the basket, and we get it more complex to hitting with a partner. Alright, for talking about grips, I obviously need the racket. This is the most intimate part between the player and tennis. The grip, how they feel the racket, how they feel the ball at contact. It doesn't get more personal than this. This is something to keep in mind, because once grips are set, it's a very, very hard thing to change. Now, in order to teach players, and this is the fastest way I've found, if you have a better one, share it with the whole team, is to draw lines in the palm of the hand and in the grip, and the player has to find, first with the eyes open, what the Conti grip was, what the forehand grip was, what the backhand grip was. And the second part of it, we will send them home, and they would have to do it with the eyes closed at any time, 5 minutes. Just feel that racket, find the grip, find the racket, find the grip. And they would have to come back to me the next day or the next lesson, and that will be the test. Close your eyes, I give them the racket, and I say, find the Conti grip. And I will give them the racket just even like this, and the kid will go, found it. Or find the forehand grip, found it. Throw the racket, found it. And the kids knew the racket in and out. Something that would take months to find, in literally a matter of 3-4 days, it was a solved problem. So it's a great tip. Take it on. Another thing that is super important on gripping is what we call the pistol, and it's having that little space in the hand, correct? So in order to give players the feeling of it, we have a couple of tricks or tools that help for it. Very cheap, a pen, and we just have players hold the racket with a pen so they feel what it feels like to have that space in there. That's one option, very cheap, very simple. The other one, you get more sophisticated and you get one of these little toys that goes in the racket. I'll do that quickly. And it already gives me that feeling of space in there, and actually I can use this while hitting the shot on the court. Couple of tricks for you.